Bob here. You might not recognize me. My beard's coming in and my hair's getting long. Not much time for grooming in the apocalypse. It's been a busy few weeks. Some people have showed up and it's December 4th. I've got Julia running a supply line up to Sanctuary. They don't have much in the way of supplies, but they do have a lot of knowledge of the area, and that's useful. Everybody that showed up, I've given them a job, whether they like it or not. For example, this is Kelly, and she is a typical teenage girl. She rolls her eyes a lot. It's kind of sullen. But she is a pretty good scrapper. I cleared the radiation barrels out of this pond, and it seems like it must be a natural spring because the water stopped being radioactive right away. And water's going to become a problem, so I have built a crane. I know how to build a good-sized water purifier from my time in the Army, but I'm going to need a crane to help me build it. It doesn't really drive on its own, but it does have an electric winch. And the fact that it doesn't drive is okay because we've got this weird two-headed cow that just kind of showed up out of nowhere. I call her Atlas. I know Atlas is not a girl's name, but she is really strong and a good worker. One of the other settlers that has showed up is a guy named Matt Foley. He's been living in a van down by the river, and so Atlas and I drug the van up here and built him a little house. He didn't want to live inside the walls, and that was okay. He says a lot of motivational things, which is kind of weird after the apocalypse, and he still likes to sleep inside the van. But I'm not going to judge him. He's a pretty funny guy. The very first settler that showed up was Barb, and she's got some kind of weird skin condition, and I'm pretty sure that hair is a wig. I didn't want to ask her about it. I thought that it would be rude. I gave Kelly this room here, and she doesn't have much, but she is pretty glad to have a space that's all her own. This over here is Bella, and I don't know exactly what's happened to her in her life, but it must have been pretty hard. She can't read, so I explained to her that this sign means that only people that she says are okay can come inside her room. She cried. That was rough. There's Matt, and this is where Barb lives. I'm pretty sure that she puts her wig on that stand at night and combs it out, trying to keep it looking as nice as it can. I went over to Sanctuary, and I'm pretty sure that Mama Murphy is an actual psychic. She told me to go to Diamond City and I'd be able to find Shawn, and I got really excited. I put Shawn's crib and his changing table in here, and I still haven't found him. Need a drink. I took Codsworth with me on the trip to Diamond City. It's a terrible gardener. It keeps forgetting what it's supposed to do, but it's really dangerous with that buzzsaw and flamethrower. If I'd have known, I'd have never let that thing anywhere near Shawn. I passed a greenhouse that was completely staffed by robots on my way to Diamond City, and they asked me for help, but I don't have time for that. They're just things, and they don't need my help. They should be able to do things on their own, or not at all. I did a lot of shopping in Diamond City, got a lot of supplies, but it felt like everybody wanted something from me, and that included the secretary of the local detective, Nick Valentine. She wanted me to go get him out of a jam in a vault, and I did, but it turns out that Nick is not a he. Nick isn't it. He's one of those synth things that everybody's talking about. So I don't trust him. I decided that my next step is going to be check out a signal that I found on an old military frequency. Maybe the Army can help me find Shawn.